Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Lunchtime Conversations. I am the official urban therapist. I appreciate you tuning in. Now, I appreciate y'all, being understanding first of all, because I haven't been posting up to for the past couple of days. The reason why is because I just needed a well needed break. So I just decided to take a couple of days off. That's the first reason. The second reason is because um, normally on my Wednesday and Thursdays, that's when my schedule is very hectic. So I'll be mainly focused on my schedule for my job concern and um, other situations as well. So, but in that, I appreciate y'all being understanding in the matter. But I am back again, once again. Thanks for joining me today. Happy Friday. I hope your Friday is going awesome. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope you are being very productive in your work day if you're currently working right now. Um, Hope everything is going according towards plan. Then if not, then that's fine too because it's still going according towards plan. May not be your plan, but it's definitely still going according towards plan where it need to go. All right. So I just give you some encouragement of that and just keep pushing through and just get through this day. All right. Nevertheless, let's go ahead and jump into part three of this Let's Time conversation. Now, if you've been tuning in this week, I've been sharing with you my wisdom about communication. And I've been talking real heavy about communication, and the reason why is because I stated in my last two videos that communication is the key, and my goal is for us to have effective communication, especially within our relationships. So that is my goal. That is what I'm focused on doing because I want us to have strong, good relationships. All right. I want us to be pretty strong. So, nevertheless, let's go ahead and jump into part three of this topic. Um, PMP, hey, I appreciate you tuning in, bro. I appreciate it a whole lot. Now, let's go ahead and jump into part three. All right. Now, I ended part two with a huge cliffhanger. If you didn't want to check out part two, I highly suggest you go ahead and check out part two of this topic that I've been talking about this week. But part two, I focus on communication on more of a scientific and also on a spiritual perspective. So throughout the whole point or part two, I was coming to y'all from a scientific perspective. I was basically telling y'all, about communication and how words are basically just transmission of energy, where we're transmitting energy towards each other, and that energy could either be positive or negative. It could affect us positive or negative. That's why, whenever people hear like positive news, wherever, or positive information, it affects them in a positive way. It makes them, happy, upbeat, joyful, and all these different things. Whereas if you hear negative news or information, it affects you in a negative way. And also, I was revealing to y'all that in part two, I was revealing to y'all that a lot of media people who's over the media, like social media and television, movies, and stuff like that, they know and they understand that communication is energy. So this is the reason why they use different type of hypnosis or brainwashing techniques in order for you to either tune in into their information that they want to give you, or they also use it as far as advertisement purpose as well to get you to purchase a product. But all this dealing with energy and is dealing with forms of communication. So I briefly talked about that. Then also I went into a more of a spiritual perspective too, where I was sharing with y'all even spiritually. Every religion that you could think of has some reference about communication. The Christian Bible, it talks heavily about communication. And it talks about bridling your tongue in the Christian Bible. In other words, son, it's telling you to be careful with what you say. Be attentive of what you say, and also, be real careful behind it as well, because you don't never know the power of your words and how it could affect the ones who receive your message and stuff. So I was talking about that on a spiritual perspective. Now, once again, I highly recommend y'all go back to part two of the video to hear that spiritual part of it, because I believe that part was very, very, very powerful. Um, the Get people to understand it, how the way communication really, really works, both scientifically and spiritually as well. And one other thing too is that I have revealed to y'all too that science and spirituality is one and the same. It's the same thing. It's the same thing on the same coin. If you flip it, it's still the same thing, but it's just being called two different things. Just like religion. But that's neither here or there. All right. So let's go ahead and jump to part three, where we at now. Now, in at the end of part two, I have reference about listening, and I have also reference about understanding. So what I'm going to do, I'm fixing to go ahead and dive deeper into these meanings about listening and understanding. Okay. So first of all, sorry about that. Hello, George Chit Chat, welcome. But first of all, let's go ahead and get an understanding about listening. Okay, what is listening? What is that? How do they look? What is listening, and how do they look in forms of communication? Now, through a basic Google search, you'll find out that listening is simply the ability to accurately receive and interpret messages in a communication process. That's basically what it is. But also, listening is the key to all effective communication. If y'all didn't know that, listening once again is the key to all effective communication. Without the ability to without the ability to listen effectively, messages are easily misunderstood. Let me say that again. Without the ability to listen effectively, messages are easily misunderstood. Let me give y'all an example. All right. I know many of y'all either are in relationships or you have been in relationships. Whether it's an intimate relationship, whether it's a platonic relationship, whether it's a professional relationship. There have been a point in time where one person was communicating to you, and the message just went totally into the wrong direction. It just went to the totally wrong direction. The reason why it went totally in the wrong direction is based on what we're talking about right now about listening. And it's simply by listening. Now, I want to share with y'all that the average person do not know how to listen properly. I'm going to say that again. The average person do not know how to listen properly. The reason why the average person doesn't know how they want to listen properly is because the average person haven't been simply taught the techniques of listening. I'm going to say it again. The average person have not been taught how to listen effectively. So basically, what the average person does, wherever messages that be conveyed, they listen. They, in other words, listen to respond instead of listening to, understand. Which I'm gonna give you the definition about understanding shortly. But they just listen to respond. Let me give y'all another example with the same analogy about the one relationships and stuff, right? Have you ever was dealing with a sensitive subject where you're talking to either your significant other or it can be professional, however way you want to interpret it as, right? And you just simply want that person to understand where you're coming from. But instead of that person listening and understand where you're coming from, they immediately already have their interpretation. They immediately already have their personal perspective about the matter without even trying to understand where you're coming from. Then normally their perspective be way out for what the original message that you're trying to convey to them. Like say for example, you 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 giving the message that tacos is good on Tuesday, but instead of the person who receiving the message trying to understand why you feel that taco is good on Tuesdays, instead they immediately try to rebut it. Well, now tacos ain't good on Tuesday; it's good on Wednesday because I love tacos on Wednesday. You see how this going? You just simply making the statement that taco is good on Tuesday. That is your statement, but without you explaining your perspective why you feel like taco good on Tuesday, the other person will immediately rebuttal it and say, now it's good on Wednesday because I like it on Wednesday. And they begin to rebut it. From there, this is what is known as a breakdown in communication, where now instead of you trying to express your feelings and concern about the certain subject or topic at hand, now you're in this space where you're trying to defend what you're talking about. And this is known as a breakdown in communication. So I know a lot of y'all have experienced this before. Even I have experienced this a lot of times. But it's simply a breakdown in communication. And this goes all the way back to my statement earlier, is that we haven't been taught how to listen effectively. Hey, what's up, money boy? We haven't been taught how to listen effectively. Now, once again, based on the definition that I gave you by listening, all it is, listening is simply the ability to accurately receive and interpret messages in the communication process. It's the ability to accurately receive and interpret messages in the communication process. Now, notice within this definition, it is not talking about just simply your personal interpretation, your personal perspective. It's not just talking about that. It's talking about you actively listening to understand the message that's been conveyed by the person who's giving you the message. That's what it is. Let me reveal to y'all a couple of types of listening. All right, and this information I'm sharing with y'all, just like I say, y'all could go and Google it and research it for yourself if you want to get deeper in this, like how I am. You could just simply research it yourself as well. But let me give y'all four type of listening skills, okay, or four types of listening. The first type is deep listening. The next type is full listening. The next type is critical listening. And the final type is therapeutic listening. Now let me share with you about these types real quick. What does this actually means? Okay. Now deep listening, it is simply occurs when you're committed to understanding the speaker's perspective. Once again, deep listening occurs when you are committed to understanding the speaker's perspective. Let me give y'all context about what this is talking about. In other words, you're not listening to try to rebuttal or to defend your personal perspective about the message that the speaker is talking about. But what are you doing is that you're stopping and you're listening intently to understand that speaker perspective. And you want to know how you're doing this effectively, deep listening. Want to know how you're doing effectively? You do it effectively by simply asking questions for understanding. Now back to the example I gave y'all earlier about the one Taco Tuesday thing, right? Instead of responding back saying, "Well, taco was better on Wednesdays," you'll respond back like, "Well, why do you feel that tacos is better on Tuesday? Could you give me an understanding why tacos is better on Tuesday, so I can understand where you're coming from?" What are you doing is you're asking triggering questions to make the original speaker go back and give you more details about what they're talking about, or give you more context or what they're talking about. You're asking these certain triggering questions. Then from there, as both of y'all going back and forth, eventually that's when it's going to formulate into what is known as an understanding. Which once again, I'm gonna want to go into details about what do that mean. Okay. Now, the next one, full listening, it means this. Full listening involves paying close and careful attention to what the speaker is conveying. So not only you become a skilled deep listener, you're now getting full understanding, and this is going back to asking certain questions so you can get an understanding of what they're talking about. Not being quick to immediately respond, not being real quick to as the person is talking, you're immediately trying to cut them off to try to get your point of view across. But what you're doing, you're practicing listening. You're practicing listening, and you're practicing to get understanding of what they're saying before you formulate your own personal perspective or your own personal thought. Oh, welcome, Miss Light. Appreciate you tuning in. But that's what you're doing. Hello, y'all. Give me 1 second. All right, so sorry about that. So the next part is on critical listening. Critical listening, it basically involves using systematic reasoning and careful thought to analyze a speaker's message and separate facts from opinions. Now, check this out. Critical listening is often useful in situations when speakers may have a certain agenda or goal, such as watching political debates, or when a salesperson is pitching a product or services. So what do that mean about critical listening? What do that mean? How do they look like? So basically, critical listening is on the area or where I know we have a lot of content creators who are listening right now. Critical listening is on the areas where we all get together, we be on a panel, and we be conversing towards each other. A certain speaker who's the host or the moderator introduce a certain topic, right? And from there, people are listening to exactly the point of view and perspective of the moderator of the panel, and they're using the information that the original speaker or the moderator is talking about, and what they're doing, they're going back and feeding information back after when they listening for understanding. They're going back and asking certain questions about why they say what they say, or why do they believe in what they believe in. That's what they're doing. And that's the one process when you be on these panels, or when you look at political debates or just regular debates. This is what is known as critical listening. And so yeah, absolutely. Within critical listening, what are you doing? You are separating fact from opinions. This is why when you hear people debate, they always be talking about, oh yeah, that's facts, or that ain't facts, or you just in your feelings, or you just using words or whatever. That's critical listening. Now, the final part of this therapeutic listening, this is more involves where professional people use, like for some therapists, different therapists or psychologists. This is normally an area where therapists and psychologists use. But therapeutic listening is this. Therapeutic listening means allowing a friend, a colleague, or a family member to discuss their problems. It involves emphasizing and applying supportive nonverbal cues such as nodding and maintaining eye contact, in addition to empathizing with their experience. Now the reason why I said that this is more in the area where professional therapists and psychologists use that, because this is one of the skills that where we be taught to use all the time. Now, the only way a friend or a colleague or a family member uses this skill if they have some type of experience dealing with therapy on a professional level. And so they've been taught how to use these nonverbal cues. This is also the reason why, like, well, when y'all want, especially, I don't know if anyone y'all been to therapy before, or you probably just seen it in movies. This is really the reason why you're going to a therapist's office or a psychologist's office, and now they do is sit there and take notes and nod their head. This is the reason why, because they're doing what is known as a therapeutic listening. This is the reason why they do that. Now, let me tell y'all this too. There are benefits of being actually a good listener. There are benefits behind this, especially if you learn the skills of being a good listener. Now, the benefits of being a good listener is this: first of all, let's be honest. A person who's a good listener, they become more likable. Am I lying about that? They become more likable. In other words, the reason why they become more likable is because instead of them trying to always defend or rebuttal, or trying to just quickly share their personal perspective about the matter, and instead of trying to understand where you're coming from, they turn it down. So, but the ones who are a good listener, they become likable because a connection is formed. A certain level of trustworthiness is formed, where they feel trusted to share their perspectives with you, because they know you're going to listen effectively. Have y'all ever had friends or loved ones, or even coworkers, wherever, just come up to you and they just tell you about what's going on with them, and you just wonder why, sometimes, like, dang, why that always come to me? This is the reason why, because they had came to the conclusion that you're actually a good listener and you're easy to communicate to. That's the reason why. Which brings me to my next point, which a good listener builds a strong relationship. A good listener builds a strong relationship. Now, like I was talking in part one and part two of this topic, communication is not a one-way street, period. It's not. Communication is not a one-way street. Good listeners show interest, ask open-ended questions, and acknowledge what's being said. Want to know why they do that? It's because it helps reduce misunderstandings and it builds strong relationships. Period. That's what they do. That finally, good listeners have a clearer understanding of the topics being discussed. And the reason why is because individuals with refined listening skills seek to fully understand a speaker's message. They pay attention to both verbal and nonverbal cues and ask for clarification when needed. That's what they do. Now let me I'm sorry. Well, they'll probably ask like, okay, Urban, you setting us a good product here. You sitting up here talking about listening, and you know, you giving us all this information about listening. You know, I hear you on that. I hear you on that. But you still haven't revealed how can I become a good listener. Well, I'm glad you asked. Let me go ahead and give you real quick some strategies for being an effective listener. All right. Now, the first obvious strategy of being a good listener is first of all to make eye contact. Why is making eye contact important, by the way? The reason why it's important to do that is because it allows the person to see that you are paying attention to what they've been saying. And furthermore, it shows them that you actually care about what they're talking about. That's why it's important to make eye contact. Another strategy too is just like I've been saying is I always ask follow up questions instead of rebutting every single time. Ask follow up questions for understanding. Then another strategy too that will help you be a great effective listener is for you to be present and attentive. Now, what do I mean by this being present and attentive? It's simple. Have y'all ever was communicating with a person and it just seemed like the person was just not there? It seemed like the person mind was somewhere else while you trying to convey a message, or it seemed like they was more dismissive. This is the reason why being present and attentive is important. In other words, you're there to engage. And the last strategy for this, and this strategy is very, very important because I know a lot of people does this. This is simply do not interrupt a speaker. Do not interrupt a person while they're speaking. Wanna know why? Because when you interrupt a person like that, it communicates that you don't care about what's being said. It also means that you're uninterested in the current subject matter that person is talking about, and you're purposely just looking for a moment to cut that person off. Then another part about this is that simply you cut that person off because you want to be in control of the narrative. Even if it wasn't you who originally started the communication process, you want to be in control of the narrative. In which by this is where a lot of clinicians and stuff they define areas of narcissism. That's what it is. So yeah, I didn't mean to want to spend a lot of time about talking about listening, but I not felt that this part is really important. So what I'm gonna do is this one because I'm running out of time now. What I'm gonna do is this. Um, in part 4, I'm gonna do a full detail about talking about understanding. All right. In part 4, I'm gonna go deep in details about understanding for you. All right. We're gonna find out what it means to understand strategies about understanding, and we're gonna dive deep into this. Okay. So I appreciate y'all tuning in for this lunchtime conversation. Don't forget to share this information now because because out of anything that I've been talking about on my platform, I believe that this is one of the most important things I'm talking about because at the end of the day, I know that it can help people get to where they need to be, especially relationship wise, where you be able to vet your relationships and to be in healthy relationships. So once again, y'all, I am the official urban therapist. I appreciate y'all tuning in today. Y'all have a wonderful Friday. And like always, continue to fight fate with faith.